Hello and welcome to this lesson where we're continuing to work on how to make 2015 your best year ever. Hi, my name is Richard Grehalva and I'll be taking you through these lessons talking about what you can do to improve your mindset and get your goals accomplished. So today what we're going to be talking about is the ABCs of success. And the A is attitude, B is beliefs, and C is communication. So we're going to begin to talk about the A. Now, attitude, as I define it, is an outward expression of an inward belief. Now, I have to share with you my cat. This is Zoe. And take a look at that face. Is that not attitude? In fact, I put this little poster thing together about who moved my mouse because I just love the way she expresses herself. And I can tell if you were around her, you would see her attitude. Now, a way to find out about where do you measure up or where's your assessment of your own personal attitude is something I uncovered called the WTP Factor. Now, you may not have heard of it, or maybe you have, and here's what it is it is the Winnie the Pooh factor. Now, let me explain this to you. Is we all know about the story about Winnie the Pooh and the characters that were in the movie, the Walt Disney movie, and of course in the book. And Tigger there, well, Tigger is the kind of person that just goes head on, decides they want to start something brand new. They're a lot of fun to be with. They don't accomplish a whole lot, but you sure do like being around them up to a certain point. You know, they're headstrong, they just go into it, they don't see obstacles, but they never accomplish a thing. But again, they're fun people to be around. Now you may be a Tigger. You may be the type of person that has multiple projects or multiple things or multiple goals that you've started, but you never completed. Now, Eeyore, on the other hand, well, Eeyore sees everything in a negative viewpoint. I mean, Eeyore says, "Oh, I don't know. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think we should do that. That looks like a project that's just going to be doomed to fail." I mean, you know those people, right? In fact, you might be one of those people. You might be an Eeyore. And then there's Winnie the Pooh. Now, Winnie has a very specific goal, and Winnie the Pooh is after that pot of honey, the gold. And oftentimes, Winnie will fail. Well, and many more times, Winnie will succeed. So Winnie the Pooh has a goal, stretches for the goal, chases that goal, and pursues it, and most often accomplishes that goal. So, of the three, what is your attitude? Are you a Tigger, an Eeyore, or Winnie the Pooh? Now, in order to make this change, this mindset change, and begin to do something different, it really means that we're going to have to come out of our comfort zone. But many people have a hard problem doing that because they're not willing to make the effort because it's comfortable. That's why you don't do it, or I don't do it. You know, it's much more comfortable to stay with what you know rather than taking a risk. But that's what happens. If you take the risk, there is a reward. Now, I want to point out a few people that had to do that. And let's take a look at who they are. Can you imagine that Walt Disney, in a job he had early on in his career, said that he lacked imagination and he did not have any good ideas? Walt Disney. But you know what? He had an attitude. He had an outward expression of inward belief. And he was very much about making change and creating the things that he did. And he was truly a pioneer. And then there's, in the middle, is Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, the basketball great. And he said that he has failed over and over again in his life, and that's why he succeeds. Now, you have to imagine that if it comes down to the critical last few seconds and they need that last basket to win, they want to get it to Michael Jordan. And most often, he would get the ball and he would take the shot. and he would fail. And yes, sometimes he succeeded, but he never gave up on himself because he had that outward expression of an inward belief. And then there's Oprah Winfrey. Can you imagine telling Oprah that you're just unfit for TV? You're just not going to make it in this industry. Really? Look at how successful she has been. And you know, if you follow her at all, you know the many obstacles that she had to overcome in her own life to be able to achieve the high levels of success she has. Now, I have to share something with you from my own personal story. I always wanted to learn how to race. So I went to a race school at Road Atlanta, and we were taught in this race school this very car here, these Panos cars, and it is a specially prepared race car. Now I'd gone through the class for 3 days, and I graduated from the class, and then I would go back, and you could rent the car to be able to continue, your learning and practice. And then I was talking to my coach. Yes, there are coaches for driving. And what he told me is before you decide to get in racing and buy your own car and make that investment, why don't you rent a race car and compete and see if this is something you really want to do? Well, as it turns out, the place where I learned how to race also had a race series where you could rent the car. So I did. So I was in my very first race. And of course, I thought I was going to win. In fact, it was in practice. And in the practice, I wrecked. I mean, I just wiped this car out. They had to bring the track ambulance, take me up to the hospital. I was fine. I was really, really embarrassed because there was about 25 or so other drivers in there, and I had to come down from the hospital and face these folks. And, I didn't know what to do. I mean, it was my first race, and I did it in qualifying. So I was faced with this same question about the comfort zone. And was I willing to make the effort? Because as I was talking to the person who was in charge of this race series, he asked me this question. He says, "Do you know what you did?" And I said, "Yeah, I know what I did." And I explained to him what it was. And then he asked me something I thought he never would. He says, "Do you want another car?" Now, I have to tell you, I'm now facing my own personal moment of truth. In my mind, I'm inside my mind's eye, I am screaming, "No, I don't want to get another car. I'm scared." But I also knew that if I didn't get back into that car, I would probably never ever race again and really regret it. So I did. And what happened? Well, I went in to get my own car later on, and this is it. And here I am at the Barber Motorsports Park here in Birmingham, Alabama, where I live. And yes, that's me in there. And I now have the track record. I have the track record in my class. And you know that track at Road Atlanta where I wrecked? My fastest lap time ever has been at that racetrack. But it took me 4 years before I could get over my fear of just keeping the pedal to the floor and get through that turn where I wrecked. So what's my point here? My point is that if we want to succeed, we got to move out of this comfort zone. We've got to be able to change that attitude. And like me, here's what I learned. Even though I'd wrecked, I survived. And when I got back in that car and went around again and stuck with it, I was able to be successful. So I want you to take a moment now. This is the homework assignment. I want you to write down, are you one of the three? Are you a Tiger? Are you Winnie the Pooh? Are you Eeyore? And what is keeping you inside your comfort zone? What are the things that you're doing that you are stuck there, that you're not willing to take that move to get out of it? And what would it take? What are 1, 2, or 3 steps that you can take to get you out that comfort zone? I don't expect you to jump into a race car like I did, because it took steps. I had to go to school. I had to get coaching. And I had to be able to figure out what to do and what not to do. But what I'm asking you to do is to identify what that is for you. Because remember, attitude is an outward expression of an inward belief. So now, Tomorrow, we're going to be going on to the next part of the ABCs of success. So make sure that you write these things down, and I'll see you tomorrow in the next video.